Yo, what's good, everybody? Today is August the 18th, 2026. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for yet another opportunity of prayer. We ask you, God, that you would bless our conversation as well as the viewers and their families. We ask all these things in Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Um, Before we really get into the show, I wanted to start off and say that, prayers out to all our soldiers at war, not just for the actual soldiers, but for their families, their loved ones. Um, I've said it previously on previous shows. In terms of war, there are no winners. You're gonna have casualties on both sides. So, my heart goes out to everyone involved, um, family, friends, wives, children, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews. My prayers are really with you all. Um, Concerning what's the state of the world as a whole and all that's going on. Um, we'll probably get into a little bit more of that next week on the first of the month freestyle show. But I do want to offer my prayers up for and encourage you guys to keep these people at prayer too, because these are people loved ones. These are people family members. Um, and the reports that I'm hearing out of the USS Abraham Lincoln is saddening, as well as the USS George Washington. But we'll get into that next week. Um, there's just so much going on. Um, but again, shout out to and prayers up for all our educators, all our custodians, all the janitors, all the lunch ladies and men, and all the staff at school. I pray that everybody has a good and blessed upcoming year as they go about their education, no matter what level it is. So shout out to you and shout out to all the parents that has to still deal with this. I've been blessed now that I have to deal with this for quite a few years now. uh, and I do not miss those days of back to school pictures and all that there. So y'all keep posting. Um, Let me live life vicariously through you guys, but I do not miss it at all. I'm glad I have two adult sons that are living their best life, doing their things and everything. But with that being said, we're gonna jump on in it. Tonight I got back my co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Lie. She hasn't been here for a while, but that's my fault. Apparently, she said I didn't invite her, and I already done told her. And I looked back at the playback. I already told you, you got an open invitation. So,
True,
um,
true,
good
true.
with you. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing a okay. I fall into the category of parents sending kids back to school, and yeah, I'm year round and traditional. So my life is real peculiar. Um, so yeah, keep us in your prayers.
No doubt. Now, how does that work? I've always heard that. I only heard that term since I moved to North Carolina, but like, give me a little bit of background. What's the difference between? It was good, Drew. What's the difference between traditional? Well, I know what traditional is, but how does
Mhm.
it, how does the school year work with year round?
So year round, you have four different tracks, and from what I understand, the reason for year round was because there wasn't enough space in a lot of the schools to accommodate the amount of kids.
Okay.
And so you always have a group of kids that's not in school. So there's usually only three groups of kids that are in school at one given time. And so they go to school for 8 to 9 weeks and then they're out 3 to 4. Go back
Okay.
for 8 to 9, out 3 to 4. Initially when I first moved here, my twins, they did year round for middle school. And it was cool. Okay, it worked. And at that point, my littlest one wasn't really in school. She was like in kindergarten and she also was in year round. But when they transitioned to high school is traditional calendar, standard, go to school from August to June, out from June to September essentially. But when they transitioned to high school traditional calendar, she was still is on a year round calendar. And like you said, I didn't really hear about a traditional year-round calendar until I got to North Carolina. I'm from Michigan, and in Michigan, everybody is August to, well, we're September actually after the holiday,
Yeah,
September, June.
Jersey
That's it.
too.
That's all. Everybody is out for the summer. Everybody is same breaks, same everything. So I mean, it works when they all were on the same calendar. It worked for the holidays because we could take vacation week before everybody else took Christmas vacation, significantly cheaper, things like that. And it also helps for like summer slide. You know, my kid, she can retain more information because she's not going as long without learning and we're being educated. So, I mean, it's cool. It's cool when they're all on the same calendar. When you're dealing with two different calendars and you got to find summer camps and this kind of camp and trek out camp and that camp because the older ones aren't home to help, look after the little one. It gets a little different on them pockets. Them pockets feel it.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to the big boys 0126. Can you please shout me out, please? There you go. Shout out to you, whoever you are. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. um, but yeah, let's jump right into it. Like,
Yeah, let's do
um, and y'all know me. I like to be silly. I almost didn't really want to do the show to be tonight, to be honest with you, because it's like emotionally I'm like all over the place. It's no doubt. It's a lot going on. There's a lot
Mhm.
going on, and there's a lot that is not being said. I'm sensing a lot of things going on in the spiritual realm, and I'm just like sometimes you just want to sit and be quiet.
Mhm.
You know, I think that that's very important. Like sometimes we just sit still, no music, no radio, no conversation, no hand in your phone, no checking Instagram, no checking Facebook, but a long quiet time with the Almighty Creator.
Mhm.
Um, I think that that's one of the best places to be, and I don't think that we take advantage of it enough until we find it necessary. Uh, whether it be from a hospital bed, whether it be from, just fatigue in itself.
Mhm.
Um, I think we need to start taking more advantage of it, just free willingly, so to speak, without so much going on. But shout out as I titled it, prayers up for the family of the young man found in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a bit disheartening. Let me start by saying I don't think that there's a boogeyman, so to speak. Um, but I find it very peculiar, especially being familiar with that particular area. All right.
Mhm.
So for those that don't know, where this young man has supposedly taken his life there downtown Raleigh. Mind you, this place is literally within eyesight of the courthouse. Okay. Um, Not only the federal courthouse, you have uh ABC News. Their station is right there. Um, there's a police station, the main police station downtown Raleigh is right around the corner. And I believe that they said this happened around 2 p.m. uh last Friday, August 15th. Well, last Saturday rather. While this big festival is going on for I forgot the name of the Afrocentric something is some kind of festival that was going on. Um I just don't understand how can something like this happen in broad daylight where there's normally very active traffic, like somebody seeing somebody, and it was in one report from the police commissioner saying that there was an eyewitness that witnessed the young man. I just don't understand how you could see something like this and just literally stand there and watch. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and of course, what they do is they try to rage bait us. Oh man, this is another one. Is it somebody who's found hanging from a tree? Uh, first thing that comes to mind is lynching.
Right.
Off the rip, off the rip. Nobody's thinking about suicide or different things of that nature there.
Right.
But it's just like whether it's suicide, whether it's lynching, whatever it is. I just don't understand how can this happen in broad daylight in a heavy populated area. Um,
I think we live in a time where people tend to mind their business to a fault. Um, they see things and just, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Oh, that ain't my business. Them ain't my folk. Them ain't my people. It will allow it to happen. The most they're gonna do is pull out a camera, pull out their phone. Oh, dog, look like, oh, look what I saw today. A lot of times, people, we just live in a time where people just aren't helping like they used to. Back in the day, you see that all skin folk run into it and get them down. You know what I'm saying? They helping because this is it's traumatizing to see that. But now nowadays, people mind their business to a fault.
Hey, thanks for the question. Thanks for tuning in as well. Scrapping with Dave. Dave said, "Y'all never thought about deleting yourself." Actually, Dave, I have, and I have actually attempted on 3 different occasions. So, suicide is something that's very near and dear to my heart. Um, just always, I say it jokingly, but it's dead serious. Like, I thank God that was the one thing that I wasn't good at, that I was a failure at. But I actually have tried to attempt suicide myself, so I don't take that lightly, and I definitely appreciate the question. But yeah, so I can understand what I'm saying is not that somebody would be to the point of suicide. What I'm saying is I don't understand how something like that can, like with me personally, in the 3 times that I did, it was like in a private setting. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like out in the public. I didn't go, you know, try to I didn't go to a park full of people and say, "Hey, y'all, y'all watch me off myself." Like, you know what I mean? It was more or less in seclusion. And I just don't understand how something like that could happen in such a, like I said, heavily populated area. Because death is certainly going to happen regardless. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's no need for us to rush the process along. And it's easy for me to say that now, but it's going to come to all of us. That's the only thing that's guaranteed in this life.
For sure.
Um, but I hear exactly what you're saying, like, because that's a good point. That's a good point. I remember being on another show in the comments, and the dude, he was the host of the show. He was giving me my props. Oh man, yeah, we got to do this, we got to do that. This was
Mhm.
around the time where the young lady was attacked. I forgot her nationality, but she was attacked on a train in Charlotte,
Yes. Oh gosh.
and stabbed up, and he was asking me, not now, mind you, the host never met me personally. He doesn't know me personally whatsoever, but
Mhm.
he's seen the name of the show, and oh man, yeah, nationally syndicated talk show host Marvin. Thank you, man. Much respect. This and that there. And it got to the point where he was talking about, what would you do? And I literally said, where I'm from, I would have sat there and mind my business. And he literally, nah, man, you gonna mean to tell me you gonna sit there while this dude is stabbing this lady and you not gonna do anything? What you gonna expect me to do? You want me to go over there and try to take the knife and get stabbed to myself? Like, where I'm from, like you say, we tend, especially when you grow up in the hood. Like, let's
Yeah,
let's be
for
honest.
sure.
I always, and I can't share it enough. I swear I wish my cousin was in the comments tonight, because he'll probably be on later. But I'll never forget an incident when I was a young kid. My father always told me never get involved with people relationship issues, never. And I might have been like 11 years old at the time when he told me this, and so I had no idea what he was talking about. I don't even know
Mhm.
what you're talking about. Fast forward 2 or 3 years later, I'm on South Orange Avenue, right across the street from C-Town, waiting on the bus to go downtown.
Not you know exactly where you was at.
I still, because I can still visualize it to this day, right in front of Boylan. Shout out to Boylan, um, community center. And me and my cousin, we waiting on the bus to go downtown, and we see these people, this couple coming out of C-Town, and they proceed to arguing, and he cursing her out, and he getting on her.
Mhm.
Next thing he put, and it got to the point where it's like me and my cousin, we felt so bad, like we go over there across the street and like, yo, man, you gotta chill. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, Ain't no need for beating her up or whatever. You know, just go somewhere, calm down, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
It's like, you know, me and my cousin, we put hands on old dude, right? Within, I would say 10 seconds, because you know when you're in an altercation, time feels a whole lot faster. So it might have been
Yeah.
5 to 10 seconds. When I tell you, all I seen was black. All I seen was black, right? And I'm like, what in the world just happened? This chick done came and cracked me in my back.
See?
Get off him. Get
See?
off him. Now she bleeding from the face and everything else, and she telling us to get off him.
Yeah.
And I learned from that day, it always took me back to what my father told me. Never
Listen,
get involved. Mind your business.
mind your business. I know
Actual family. Yeah.
I know firsthand. I have a family member who tried to do the same thing because you know I'm from Detroit. Detroit, we are very much a go ahead and look the other way. This does not pertain to you, so do not make it pertain to you. For whatever reason, this family member and I grew up on the west side of Detroit. And anybody familiar with Detroit, we have some very gritty, grimy areas. And my family was from Joy Road. When you think about Joy Road, you okay, you can there's a lot of things that happens in that area. A lot of the shows that you see, those areas, okay, to give you context of how much you really need to mind your business in these areas. And so my family member decided, oh, I see, like you said, I see this couple, they're fighting, like, oh no, I gotta help, I gotta step in. Stepped in, ended up in the hospital, hospitalized for not minding their business. Now, I'm not saying that they were wrong for trying to intervene or anything like that. I'm not saying that because I definitely believe, you know, maybe it was put on their heart. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not going to say they were wrong. But at the same time, when you do things like that, you have to be prepared for what the outcome may be. You may make it out alive by helping somebody else. You may not. You may very well be the one who ends up unalived from a situation like that, from just simply trying to help somebody. So if I were in that situation, honestly, Marv, I don't know what I would do. Again, I'm from Detroit, where we do mind our business. If we are on the bus and we see something happening like that, the most we'll do is call 911. Like, that's all I got for you. I have a family to get home to. Putting myself in this situation where clearly this man, and specifically the bus situation, where this man is clearly unhinged. That'll be two of us. Like, I'm going to die. There's no question in my mind. This man clearly just unprovoked attack. You don't know this lady from a can of paint. So what makes me any different? So I'm going to mind my business. I'm simply going to call 911 and pray for you. And I think that's the guy who was, found unalived in downtown Raleigh. I honestly think even if it were busy, even if people did see that, they probably looked like, oh man, what he got going on? What he doing? And kept it pushing. And it probably wasn't until they saw it on the news or social media, like, dang, I walked past him earlier. I could have, you know what I'm saying? It then starts to click like shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Obviously, by that time, it's too late. But in today's society, it's just, and like you said, it depends on how you grew up. A lot of us grew up in gritty, grimy areas where you keep it pushing. Listen, I feel bad for the situation. I'm going to pray for these people, but get involved, I'm not gonna do. Especially me, no. And this was a very close family member, like immediate family. And to see that and to know why it happened because you were trying to help somebody, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know. I don't know that I would have stepped in either.
Yeah. You said back in the day, if we ain't stopped that kind of stuff, you had to take it off the block. Yeah, for sure. Don't be bringing no unnecessary heat around here. It's already hot.
Yeah. Most you gonna do if whoever you with got one on them, they'll put a couple in the air, clear the smoke, and that's about all people gonna do nowadays. So it's very unfortunate, and I definitely have the family and friends and my thoughts and prayers But at the end of the day, his mom even said he was dealing with mental health issues, which I think is a totally different conversation that
Mm-hmm.
we as minorities just don't have enough. I am an advocate for therapy. Listen, being proactive or reactive therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
I might get cussed for this, but I ain't talking therapy with your pastor. Go
I
seek
say it all
professional
the
help
time.
outside of the
And I
church.
don't. I have many pastor friends, and I really don't care how they feel about it. But in 90% of cases, your pastor is not a licensed therapist.
And your
And I'm not
pastor
saying that
need
your
a therapist.
shit.
I'm gonna say it because y'all can't with me, okay? And I
And I'm
love
not
me
saying
a
that there's
man of
anything.
God who can preach the house down. But
Yeah.
that does not mean that you are exempt from mental health issues and from
Mm-hmm.
needing a therapist. Do you know? Okay, because I'm the co-hostess with the mostest, I'm gonna kind of throw this in here, but this ain't really what we was talking about. But stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many pastors I have seen on social media who are dealing with mental health issues, affairs, uh, family issues, just all kinds of things that if you actually sat down with somebody, and a lot of times people say, well, what can a therapist do for me? More than you can clearly do for yourself by
Mm-hmm.
yourself right now, even if it's just somebody to dump your thoughts on. But do you know how many pastors out here are moving wildly? And
Mm-hmm.
if you had somebody that you actually could talk to that wasn't a lay member, that didn't go to your church, that perhaps didn't even know your profession, that could correct you and say, not what you is you good? What are you doing? Do you know how many pastors or less pastors we would see perhaps in the news or on social media? It's one in Durham that I'm just like, Lord, I really wish he would sit himself down. He needs help.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody will tell him that because he's a pastor. And pastors oftentimes think they don't need therapy because Jesus is their therapist. So
And
again,
that's the interesting part of it. Just to piggyback off what you. And let me be clear. I wanted to clear that too. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with talking to your pastor.
correct. Absolutely not.
Nothing wrong with talking to your pastor.
Nope.
However, your pastor is a human being just like you. Not to
Absolutely.
mention that they have their own situations going on. Not to mention every other member that's bringing stuff to them, all this type of stuff. So it can be a burden. But at the same time, with the reason that I mentioned that the license part, because I do know a few pastors that are licensed therapists. So
Hmm.
that is a little bit different. You know what I mean? But a lot of this stuff come from, let's be real, um, self ego. You know, because I am a pastor, I'm qualified. That qualifies me. That title alone qualifies me as your spiritual father. Like that's one of those things that really piss. Like I ain't gonna say piss me off, but I've never heard and it's like that, especially when you grow up in church or you grow up in society. You notice like uh every so often there's this new fad. Let's say fad. You know, in early '90s, early 2000s, you went from even within the holiness, you started seeing prosperity. The whole prosperity movement, and that was a whole little fad, and you could pick and choose whether you want to, how you feel about it. You know what I mean? But then it's like this last transition, the last 15, 20 years is, oh yeah, this is my son in the gospel. This is my spiritual dad, and this, like, stop it, yo. Like,
Listen, if that's what them people choose to do, I ain't got no problem with that. But like you said, because I do want people to understand what we're saying, because a lot of times people will hear and we take in
mhm,
information how we want to take it in and
mhm,
put our own perception and perceive it how we want to. I'm not saying all pastors don't talk to them at all. Go, never
mhm,
like you said. No, if you want to talk to your pastor, but understand your pastor is going to give you his perspective most of the time, his or her perspective from a spiritual stance, which
mhm,
is phenomenal. But sometimes some of us are dealing with things that require worldly remedies, be it medication, different kind of speech therapy. Like there are some of us who require more than just go pray.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew 1 and 2 says this. The Bible speaks of this. Up your prayer life. Fast a little more. Like all of that is great in conjunction with them anxiety meds.
Mm-hmm.
In conjunction with them
Mm-hmm.
depression pills. Like
Yeah.
let's be real clear. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying don't go get the spiritual side from your pastor. Please do, because you need that as well. But don't think that that is the uh be all end all. Like it just ends there. Pastor told me to fast more, so I'm good. No, you a little psychotic. You need to go to a licensed therapist that can prescribe you meds. You need to go to a psychiatrist actually, so that they can
Mm-hmm.
write you a script to feel today, not
Yeah.
immediately. You know what I'm saying? To help calm whatever is going on, so that you can pray and ask the Lord to be with you and to calm you. So I don't want the people to think I'm saying, well, I said don't pastors ain't don't y'all allow me.
Yeah.
I'm just simply saying
Because and
conjunction.
here's the other part side of that. Why is prayer individual prayer is so important? How about you pray and ask God how to go about it, and who should you see or who should
Mhm,
you talk to? Because
absolutely.
you like you said, with the spiritual component, yeah, that's a factor. But my problem is I know whole lot of pastors that should be spiritual that aren't spiritual. So you're just giving me your opinion based off of what you think. And I don't really need to know what you think. You know what I mean? I want to hear. I that's a we're not even gonna go down that road. But shout out to all y'all favorite most of y'all, I ain't gonna say all y'all, but most of y'all favorite Brian Carn. He done turned himself in
See
uh
what I'm saying?
uh for tax
And he
evasion.
was like, "Oh, Brian Carr, Brian Carr." Oh, when I first moved down here, I was like, "Who and what is a Brian Carr? What is
I
happening?"
have never, ever, ever, I mean, ever liked that dude. From the
He
first time I
was
seen
the
him, I was
people's
like, yo, he's
pap.
a shyster.
People loved him. I mean, I heard his
They
name
still
so
do.
much. I
They still do.
honestly, the only reason I know of him is one, when I first moved down here, I never took the opportunity to do a deep dive. Give me 30 seconds to a minute of listening to somebody, and I can tell you if it's going to be a yes or no for me. It was an immediate no. Okay, let's just be clear. No thanks. And the only time I would hear his name is when it was something controversial. Like that's the only time. I never heard his name from uh building the community or doing anything positive that you would look for a pastor or a preacher to do. It was always something that had to do with some kind of controversy. And that goes back to my point. Imagine the people that have sat with him and said, "Listen, Pastor, I'm really struggling. Like I'm really going through." And he gives them his opinion, right? Bible-based opinion, only for them to find out you you crooked. Like you are crooked.
And they had to pay for it. I've known people that have been at services that say he has literally stood up and said, if you want a word from the Lord, you got to give me $500.
And you know how
And
many
if that
people
ain't enough for you to get up and walk out of that service right then and there,
no, not at all.
there's something wrong with you.
And
That
people walk right to the altar because they're looking for a this ain't no church. Okay, this not that. I know. But I need amen to what you said, because I was about to take us a totally different direction that we were not trying to go tonight. So yeah.
hey, Julian said it best. That's when prophecies go wrong. He said that man said he will never go to jail. Now he's sitting in jail with a number. God ain't tell that man to run his mouth. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
It was just literally months ago that he said he was never going to jail. I know for a fact that he's in the jail. He had to turn himself in. And he tried to prolong it. He tried to prolong it, saying himself first something happened with I think his mother died or his father died. And then they first his father died, then his mother. So they tried to get bro, come on. You need to you need to bring it on in.
And guess how many people he said he told, "Thus saith the Lord."
Exactly. Exactly.
And
And,
yeah,
and, and,
your
and
prophecy about yourself ain't even right.
and again, this is not about because I don't even know how we wound up here. This is not
Me
about
neither.
bashing leaders, spiritual leaders, men of
Correct.
God, but at the same time, be mindful and prayerful. One of the things that people always often ask me when it comes to ministry is, and I try to tell people this: you operate in what I call blind faith, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
which is why, you know, people that know me personally know that I live by Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. It
Right.
doesn't say 75% of the time. It doesn't say, and I've given testimonies and examples of I pray about the gas station I go to. I pray about which grocery store to go to,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what works for me. I'm not telling you to do that for you, but I'm
Right.
just saying what I take that scripture to heart. And when I said all that to say, when you pray and seek God about um churches, spiritual leaders, uh outside of church, spiritual people that you could confide in, brothers and sisters of the spiritual realm, God will not lead you astray. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because people always say, especially when people that, and it's always, that's one of them things that always bother me as well. How so many people got so much to say about church, but it's always the people that don't even attend church.
Right.
That's why I don't go to church, because all they care about is the money and this here and that there and that there. Well, how do you know what's going on in there? If how can I criticize the WNBA, whether it's good quality or bad quality, if I never watch it?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
I'm not giving you an educated opinion.
Right.
I'm just throwing my opinion out there, but it doesn't mean that it's founded on anything, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, people like, well, how can you give to churches and this here and that there? Because I've seen where God has blessed me for giving. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, over the course of years. But also know that God is not going to allow me to allow me to. I'm not going to plant a seed in concrete. You
That's
know what I
good.
mean? It's not going to be. It's just a matter of time before I keep putting the seed in the concrete that I say, you know what? It's not reproducing anything. It's
Right.
time for me to plant my seed in some soil or some grass, not the concrete.
Right.
Because you know what I mean? God is not going to keep letting you invest into a bad ministry, so to speak,
Correct.
or an unfounded thing. That's why it's so important to seek him.
Right.
And he shall direct your path. He'll
Right.
let you know what church you need to attend. He'll let you know who to go to this matter with in prayer. Because, like you said earlier, sometimes we might be going through life situations where a family member might not be the best person to talk to about it. You know what I mean? Or somebody at the church might not be the best person to talk to about it. A coworker might not be the best person to talk to about it. So ask God who it is that you could put in my path to help me with this, because I
For sure.
live by. I hate that I forget what movie it was, but I seen this back in the 90s. And I'll never forget that line, and it always stuck with me. Sometimes the best friend that you can have is a perfect stranger. And that is
I
so
love.
because it's like they don't have any bias. They just listening to you. They're not one-sided. That, you know what I mean? So,
I
but there
love
is
that.
somebody that you can talk to. There is somebody that you can talk to. That's why I always on this show, not because I'm trying to get out there or anything like that, but I just need people to know, just like this young man that felt like he didn't have anybody to talk to, or
Yeah.
might have had somebody to talk to, just chose not to.
Yeah.
Marvin Bennett, I'm letting you guys know I'm accessible. You know what I mean? You guys could be in the
Oh.
comments. You guys got all my social media information. My email is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Never feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, or that you're going through anything alone, because
Right.
if nobody else tell you, I'm here for you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think that it's very important that not only do people know that people are there for them and they have support systems, but to actually utilize it. Um, just because we use that word using people, it doesn't have to be a negative connotation. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a negative. Sometimes you need to use people for the benefit of their good and your good.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I also learned too, growing up in ministry, is it took me a while when people would try to be a blessing to me. I would always, nah, you good, and it's like God really after years and years, God finally told me stop doing that, and I'm like, I don't need it, so stop doing that because what you're doing is you're hindering their blessing. You know what I mean? Like them being a blessing to you, yes, if you don't receive that blessing, so to speak, now it's what I mean. It's going back to robbing them of their blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a blessing to someone is a blessing in itself. So why not, like they say it now, that's a new term today. Like I talk about these fast, pay it forward. You see these
Mm-hmm.
people in line. Oh, this coffee's already paid for by somebody, the car in front of you. So, oh yeah, let me go ahead and pay for the person behind me. Those different things. But one blessing started the trickle down effect of other blessings.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be mindful of that when people, try to be a blessing to you, allow it.
Yeah.
Um,
Been
did
humbled.
did he unalive
I've been
himself or
humbled.
someone unalive them? Drew. So the police chief said that they came out and they said that he did it to himself. It was an unalive situation by him. No
Yeah.
one did it. That's what the initial reports are saying as of now. I found it real peculiar too that they not mention his name. And it's like, and I did see one report where
Didn't they do a
they said it
report
was
where
out
his
of respect,
mom requested that they release that information, or was it
and
just his dad?
that's what I was saying.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. The mom, they said it's per the family's request.
Yeah.
However, um, well, it just seemed kind of weird to me. Um, it just seemed kind of weird to me. Uh,
I think honestly, Marvin,
they
all
didn't even
this
really,
type
they
of
didn't even
info.
release her name either. They just saying that the mom. What you saying? Like you froze. It's like but like I was saying, until she comes back on, they were saying that the mom requested it. Now that you was a little bit late, Drew. So where this happened at, Drew, is downtown, but not too far from the courthouse. The ABC news station is there. They have a police station that's like right around the corner. There are all kind of cameras around there. So my question is like, with all these, especially in today's technology in the day and age, not that they need to release the public, release the footage to the public, but I'm just wondering why it's taking so long for these different details to be released, so to speak. Um, there definitely had to be cameras, so they know whether it was foul play or not. But it's like one of the articles that I was reading, or one of the comments that I was reading is, we see that all the time, especially here in Raleigh. Um, believe it was sometime earlier this year where the lady shot two of her lawyers right there at the courthouse or something. It was some kind of crazy dispute right there at the courthouse. So there's definitely cameras and stuff that's around, but suppose like there's always a situation where this footage, so to speak, winds up missing, you know, or goes missing here and there. So there definitely was cameras, Jew. Um, it's just that we live in a day and age you don't know what to believe anymore, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talk about it often on here as far as politics, and I'm not into politics at all because I think that is a farce game, and I refuse to play. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? And you know, it's just like, what do you believe now? Like, so much is predicated upon what you believe, but you don't. It's so much information that's so oversaturated. You don't know what to believe in these days of time. You know what I mean? Because they took the age of misinformation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and the devil himself. If you believe in Satan, some people don't believe in Satan. but he's the god of confusion. He's the god of distraction. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you be in terms of the war? How can you be saying that this isn't happening? Like I said, I've seen reports that allegedly people have been jumping off of these ships. The food conditions are horrible. Mental health is at an all-time high within this ship because they was only supposed to be out there for 2 months, and it's been close to 8 months now. So they don't have the supplies that they need. You're in war, so you can't. It ain't like you can just go to the corner store and get what you need and be
Right.
okay. You know, you're out at sea. But here it is. At the same time, you got the president of the United States coming on air. No. Now it's been documented by naval people that this has been the longest deployment that anybody has ever had on a carrier. He's saying we have many more longer in history. They're fine out there. So it's like I'm getting two sides of different. I'm getting two totally different stories. How do I know what to believe in this day and age? And the same thing concerning him. That's why I said earlier, I don't believe that it was a boogeyman situation. I just find it very ironic that something like this could happen in broad daylight in a major, not just a major city, but the capital of North Carolina in broad daylight. This wasn't like 2 o'clock in the morning. This was 2 p.m. in the afternoon on a Saturday.
So let me ask you, if you
Mhm.
were down at the festival, you were walking by, you saw a young man with a belt or a rope headed toward a tree, and you're seeing this in real
Mhm.
time, what would you have done?
Now, like you say, it's easy for us to play Monday morning quarterback. You know what I mean? It's easy for us to say what we could have did, but I don't know what I would have done. But I would like to have think. Like I call it my spiritual. My mind says stop doing that. It's disrespectful to the Holy Ghost. But it's like I get these spiritual senses sometimes. You know what I mean? Where like the Spider-Man is like the Spidey senses, like spiritually certain things. I would like to think that if I had seen something like this or the setup, like at least try to go over there and talk to this dude. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, hey, bro, come on, man. What's going on? It's not worth it, bro.
Yeah.
You're looking at somebody and share my testimony with them. You're looking at somebody like this isn't going to solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Get the help that you need. Like, at least try to talk to them. I don't like to think that I would stand there and see somebody with a cord because they saying this was allegedly a stitcher cord.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it got a stitcher cord in his hand. I'm looking at the dude with a stitcher cord in his hand. And he's steady looking up this tree. That the first thing, like you said, I'm gonna do is get out there and grab my phone so I can record it. I know he ain't about to hang himself. I know he ain't about to do this. Like, but that's what we so desensitized. And like I say, um, one of the reasons I was my family laughing at me. I was like one of the last people in the modern day age to get a computer because I was like I refuse to have that in my house because I believe that Satan is the prince of the air. What is this? This is the airwaves. So it's so much that goes on in music, in television, all these different things that's being transmitted that you don't even realize that you're digesting and you're feeding yourself spiritually. You
Right.
know what I mean? And you have no idea. Oh, this is just entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My boy Kaiser Sose said it best. The greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he did not exist. And if you do not believe that he exists, then he's already won.
Yeah.
Because you would never think that, oh no, that can't be real. I hate to go back to it, but this magic juice that they wanted everybody to get 6 years ago. I'm not even entertaining it. Well, what about you? And I knew so many people. Oh man, listen. Well, I ain't with it either. I ain't with it either. I'm not doing it. Well, 2 months later, well, I had to because my job. Okay, I was willing to
Oh,
find another job.
I didn't know what juice. I'm like magic juice. I'm catching what you putting down. Carry on.
That little jab, and,
Yeah.
it was real simple for me, right? This is the way my brain processed it. outside of spiritually and praying about it. And I'm not saying that people that did take it didn't pray about it. You know, everybody's different. I'm just talking about my own personal experience. When you think of cancer, cancer is man-made. HIV was man-made. We got all these different things. Sickle cell. You remember the measles? When the last time somebody had measles? Chicken pox, smallpox, all these different things, right? Here it is. We got this thing that's killing people. It's taking people out that we have never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And within less of a time that it's been out, you finally come up with, nah, I'm not, I refuse to be a part of the guinea pig crew. I'm not going to be a part of, let me know when y'all get to the 10th batch. I'm not going to be, you're not going to be experimenting. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
It's like, for real. In all seriousness, I always ask people, especially as a black individual, right? When has this government ever did anything for us out of the kindness of their heart because it was the right thing to do? Never. It's always an ulterior motive. So no, I'm not doing that. All that. Drew said you talked about talking to a pastor. No, sir. I told my ex-pastor about his wife.
I
I
can't
can't even
see
get to
the
the comment. I put it up there.
Okay.
You talking to a pastor? No, sir. I told my ex-pastor about his wife because I cool with a lot of guys in the street. This nut ran and told his wife within 5 minutes she was in my shop going off.
See, you
Never
should have
again. I
minded your
don't care.
business. Mind my business. I look. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
But
it's Chatty Patty. You got go ahead, La.
no, I was just about to say, like I said, I honestly think it all stems back to our people not believing in getting the help that we need. It's talked about a lot more, but it's still very
Mm-hmm.
taboo. It's still very taboo. Like to know, and I'll be the first to say, I lost both of my grandparents within a year of each other. Anybody who knows me knows that my grandfather, I love my parents. They are both still alive, and I'm so thankful for that. But
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather was my favorite human, period. Period. And so losing him, and he was my first loss. I've not lost. I lost the uncle, but it's like, oh, okay, uncle, ah. So my grandfather was
Yeah.
my first loss, and I was like, God, you did your big one on the first go round. You couldn't warm me up to the idea of you know what I'm saying. So I lost my grandfather almost year to date. I lost my grandmother. My mother had open heart surgery within this time period, like weeks after my grandfather was buried. So I got hit issues at home, life changes at home. So when I tell you I got hit with heavy hitters back to back to back to back to back, and I'm talking for a stint, 3-4 years. Miss Therapist, can you please write me a prescription? Because I'm not, I don't know if I'm going to be able to ride this wave unmedicated and with prayer alone. I can't. And I think a lot of times we, as again, our community, we just don't don't tell nobody our business. What goes on in this house stays in this house. No, I tell my kids all day long, you want me to sign you up for therapy? Like, you want to find a therapist? Because I believe that there are times in which we need things outside of what is in the house or what mama can give
Mm-hmm.
you or what daddy can pray for. And I honestly think, because even the mom said that he was suffering with some mental health
Mm-hmm.
issues. Like, imagine if he had those mental health issues in check, or if he, and I don't know that he didn't have prescriptions or didn't talk to anybody, but I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if he did have certain things in place, and if we as a community actually embraced
Mm-hmm.
therapy and being medicated. We'd take medicine for everything else except for our mental health. You'll allow a doctor to pill pop you to death for
Mm-hmm.
everything except for your mental health.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, people, I think it. all stems back to taking care of our mental health.
And I concur with everything you said. And at the same time, though, to play devil's advocate, I get sick and tired of people using mental health as an excuse or as a crutch. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Oh, it must be this. Like, nah, sometimes you don't usually could tell like when something is like really off.
Correct.
You know, I
Correct.
seen this one video of this girl, and it's like it almost that's why context is really important too. With what is another reason I try to stay off of all of this stuff. I try to post what I find funny, things of that nature there, because context always loses things, especially when you take you use Allen Iverson, for example. We talking about practice. That was a 20-minute post press conference where he was just talking about how he lost his best friend, his
Mm-hmm.
very best friend in the whole world, had to go out here and play a playoff game and everything else. But they want to sound clap like, oh, he don't want to practice. He think he too good to practice. It had nothing to do with practice. You think I'm thinking about practice right now? While I'm thinking about I'm making funeral arrangements for my best friend. You know what I
Correct.
mean? The best man in my wedding. Like I'm not thinking about practice right now. But
It's
the way they
deeper than
came
that.
together, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and in this video, it was a young girl where the mother, she's going off on the young girl. I mean, the young girl is going off on the mother. Now, police show up and no, give me my phone. I want my iPad. Give me my phone. I want my iPad. Um, and you can hear the mother, the cop trying to mediate, and the mother is saying, "My Uber is outside. My daddy called me an Uber." She's saying that the mother abused her and everything else. But come to find out, it was just a matter of where she took her phone from her like on punishment. So she's telling the police that the mother beat her up and everything else, and the mother is clearly telling the cop like she suffers from mental health. Like, why you won't let me go see my daddy? My Uber's outside. Daddy called me an Uber. And she like, no, tell that Uber to leave. Like, she wanted to check in the hospital. And it's like when people I'm reading the comments and everybody like the mother this here and that there. But as I'm watching the video, I'm like, yo, this is not a skit. This is not an act. There's something really wrong with this
Mm-hmm.
girl. And to your point, I advocate for therapy as well. And I do believe that times are changing. I do believe that people are more comfortable with it in this day and age. It's not the same stigma as, like I talked about fads earlier. I remember, women at once upon a time, women, they were going to hell if they wore pants in church. Or it wasn't no such thing as a pantsuit. And here comes Joyce Myers and you know, it kind of things kind of tricky. Just think
Yeah.
about it. Even with sexuality, you know, and growing up in the 80s, you couldn't be out here. It wasn't no RuPaul's, and you couldn't be all out there. We had to deal with the shows like The Shy and all this other kind.
Not too much. Not too much.
We'll get on your show, yeah.
Don't you trigger me.
Drew said, I'm not saying don't take one medication, but some of the medications make some people worse.
Very
Absolutely.
true.
So that's the point that I was getting to get into too, Drew. That's why I say prayer. Because everything must be done in moderation. You know what I mean? It's like,
With moderation and discernment. Just
yeah.
because they push you a pill don't mean you got to pop it. You have to find what works for you. I have,
Mhm.
again, I don't mind putting myself on blast because I'm an advocate for it. I have been prescribed a number of like anxiety medications and depression. Guess how many of them still sitting at the pharmacy unfilled? To just send the prescription back because I'm not gonna take that. I know what works for me. This works for me. This is what I'm gonna take. And again, it comes with being able to discern. Yeah, that's let me go do my own research on what I'm being prescribed because like you said, some medications absolutely can make you worse. But it's about knowing yourself, knowing your body, you know what I'm saying? Knowing when you're off. I was doing A before I start taking these pills. Now I done spiraled and I'm on
Mhm.
Z. Yeah, you probably should stop taking those. But again, I still stand on the fact that sometimes medication needs to be a part of your routine.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you're getting the help that you need, because that from the day I met you, I knew you was a little bit cray, a little off. So I'm glad
I
to see what
know
you
you. Okay, so first the shy, now this. You know what? We'll talk offline.
did.
But I no, I absolutely did because again, going back to mental health with when my grandparents transitioned, Marvin took me like 3.5 years to even I know they're gone, right? Like I know I can't call. I know if I go back to the house, they're not there. I know that, right? That they're physically not here. But it took me almost 4 years to actually sit and be like, they actually gone. Like, what the heck? What happened? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? To actually sit and process
Mm-hmm.
they're gone because of my grandfather transition, my grandmother mental health. My
Mm-hmm.
grandma, I didn't even know this was a thing. She developed Alzheimer's, but it was like a PTSD
Mm-hmm.
form of Alzheimer's. Had no idea that that was a thing. With my grandfather dying, it threw my grandmother's mental health into shreds. Like, what even is that?
No,
Mental health. There
yeah.
was no mental anything. It was empty, gone. A Vamonos, poof, right? And so there was no time to really deal with all of that for us because now we're dealing with a woman, an elderly woman who has Alzheimer's and cancer, won't take her meds. So we're trying to process all of this. So after she transitioned, it was just like, okay, back to life is, you know what I'm saying? Back to life. Oh, they're not here. It took me almost 4 years to actually deal with that. And it saddens me to even think about that because there are so many people dealing with so many mental health issues and just sitting in it and saying, oh, back to life is normal. It happened. Oh, well, be it a divorce, a death of a family member, a death of a child, like some heavy stuff. And they're just, oh, back to life. I'll pray about it. Let me go fast. Daniel fast. Let me drink water for 7 days. All of that is great, but sometimes you need something to just help you get over the hump. And it's nothing wrong with that. It really is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
just like I said, you just gotta be careful because
You have
I
to
was
be.
like to think about it.
Absolutely.
Even when they send these people to rehab, and I'm like, you trading in one drug for another.
For sure. For
Like
sure.
living in a capitalistic society with big pharma,
Big fun.
you have to be very careful, and they will take you out for me saying stuff like that. I don't, you know what I mean. I stand on what I say, and I stand, I believe in what I believe in what I believe in. Um, You know, I've been like this all my whole life. Oh, you one of them conspiracy theorists. I can't wait to the day where it's all revealed that we was not the crazy ones. You was the crazy ones. We wasn't living inside of the matrix, because we wasn't believing everything that they told us. Well, it's on the news. It will be if it was on the news. It will be, yo. The news. I tell people all the time, the news is not the news. The news is just what they want you, information that they want you to know. The
Yeah.
real news is what they're not telling you at the end of the day. You know what I
That's why you
mean?
gotta do your own research. Big
Exactly.
Pharma is set up to keep you in the hospitals, at the doctor's office, being prescribed medicine. That's how they exist. If they tell you, oh, you can actually go take, daffodil herbs, or you could
Mm-hmm.
take eucalyptus, or you echinacea, or like any kind of herbs, you could take these to heal this and this to heal this. Big Pharma would not exist. You really think they're gonna allow that to ever happen? Absolutely not. So
That's
of
why they
course they
took
are
Dr.
going
Savy
to
out.
put you pills.
That's exactly why they took Dr. Savy out. Now even think about Dick Gregory. Back when Dick Gregory was doing everything that he was doing, a lot of people don't even know Dick Gregory ran cross country from California to New York only on juices. He was juicing way before anybody else. I don't want to hear nobody else. Dick Gregory was juicing back in the 60s and the 70s. You know what I mean? If not the 50s. But they, oh man, this man, he done lost his mind, yo. I gotta have my ribs and my this here and that there. Don't take all of that there. But you sitting up in the hospital with clogged arteries because you want your not. I don't know why. I'm just want to insert this and then we off of it. Black people, food is not meant to taste great. Everything does not taste great. You ain't never seen your car like, Ugh, I don't like Sunoco gas. It tastes nasty. Food is nothing but food fuel for your body. It's not meant to taste great. And I remember I always think about it. I'm growing up in Jersey. We would see people up. I lived on the second to the last block in North. The next town up from me was Maplewood, right? South Orange and Maplewood, where Seton Hall was at. So, it would be 5 o'clock in the morning. We would see white people out there with their little vests on, jogging, and we laughing at them, because they eat cauliflower and all that there. But you got an 80, 90-year-old man out here 5 o'clock in the morning, still able to function. You know what I mean? That ain't funny. When we think about it, the joke is actually on us because we want everything to taste good. Having said that, be real mindful, and this is no joking matter. Be real mindful and be real prayerful about the stuff that you're consuming these days, because a lot of this food is fake. A lot of this food is manufactured. I tell people all the time, think about it. Why do you think that so much of the chicken don't taste like it did when we was kids? Steak don't taste the same. Like nothing is the same because they're finding all these different ways. They're experimenting with the food. You know what I mean? So be real careful. It was crazy. I had a coworker that has a farm, and they were talking about bringing me some eggs one day. So they brought me the eggs. When I tell you, I was just wondering if I'll be able to taste the difference. No lie, it is totally different, straight off the farm. I didn't even know eggs that come in different colors because we so used to seeing them cart. I mean, some of the eggs was blue, some of them like the shell.
Yeah.
Like, it was like crazy. I didn't know eggs, chickens lay different color eggs, whatever. But the thing is, when it's freshly grown, you could definitely taste the difference. So just be real mindful of it. Of course, you have to eat, but everything that they call an organic is not organic. Let's just be safe and prayerful about what we're consuming these days, because there's a higher power that's pulling all these strings behind. That's why it's so much to talk about and so little at the same time, because the more we're distracted, whatever it is that we need to be focused on, we're not focusing on it because we have all these different distractions pulling us in all these different directions. So that's why I say it's very important that we, at some point in time, we just get and sit some alone time with God Almighty and find out what is our path. What is the course of action that we should take? Because everybody's not going to have the same course of action. You know what I mean? But we all are vital. Yeah. You know what I mean? These bodies of ours are made up of all these different muscles and organisms and all these different cells, blood cells, everything has a role to play. So, work on getting to play your role in society. I'm gonna let you get out of here though, because I know you got to get ready for school in the morning. But before we go, we're gonna just touch on it just a little bit.
Okay.
You love this show. I think it's the most horribly written show ever. After season 3.
Here he go.
You guys out there, and I'm quite sure some of you out there know about it too. The Shy. It's funny because right. I've heard we were talking about the show in 5 different conversations this week, and they all said the same thing. People, and this wasn't the reason I stopped watching it, but everybody's like, once I seen Candy Barris on there, I was like, I ain't watching them. What y'all got against Candy? Like, she can't become an actress. Ain't nobody stopped watching Power because Monet was on there. You know what I mean? Like, what is it about Candy? Y'all think she can't act? What is it?
Now, here's the thing with The Shy. I enjoyed the show. I did. Being from Detroit, a very gritty place and all that kind of stuff. If I'm going to compare The Shy to reality, I have to compare BMF to reality. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't look at any of these shows, and to be clear, I've never watched BMF. I've watched I take it back. I watched maybe like the first season, and then I was like, what is this? Okay. No, thank you. However, with The Shy, I can't take that and compare reality to it. It's a show. Mm. viewing pleasure. It's not to make you feel like, oh man, this is real life. No, because a lot of the thugs, okay, put them in the gritty city of the D. And we talked about this offline. They would never survive. Like, what is even happening right now? So I never look at it from that lens. I look at it from a lens of just viewing pleasure. So I enjoyed it as the seasons progressed, particularly this last season, and I think maybe season 3. Those 2 seasons, keep them. Take them out. Take them out of the entire show. The season where Keisha was locked in the basement for the entirety of the season, scrap it. Start over. What happened? Somebody, a writer was on strike or something. Like, what happened? It was horrible. And then you had this season where it was like, okay, you have all these loose ends. All these loose ends. This, Trig is trying to figure out something. And Emmett and Keisha. And then you got Nay and her boyfriend trying to, a lot of loose ends, and so it was a rush to tie it all together, which at the end of the day it still was like, this how we end in the show. The entire show, not the season, the show. This is how we're ending the show. So I love the show. Just now there were some things that was I did. I won't say that because this is recorded and a lot of people can see it. How they ended the series, I felt was a little premature. I do feel like they touched on certain issues a little too much, which I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I have no problem with how people live their life. I don't no heaven or hell to put a person in. I don't care. Truly. I pray for you and I mind my business, like we talked about. But I do believe that certain shows push certain messages and agendas and lifestyles on people way too much. If you picking up what I'm putting down, okay? They just here, watch it, consume it, and it becomes overwhelming. And I think The Shy did that a lot, where it was just like, I'm gonna give you a whole season, boom, 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 and it was just like, okay, I respect how people choose to live their lives, but do we have to get a whole 10 episodes heavy? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot. So I do feel like The Shy was a good show for what it was intended to do, which was again just viewing pleasure. But I do feel like there were some episodes and some seasons and some topics that they just really drug. And even Black churches, they really portrayed Black churches in a very horrible way. One of the pastors was like money hungry, and he was, in with the gangsters and the drug dealers and the killers and all that kind of stuff. And that's how they pushed the Black church to be. Now, granted, Papa's dad was a little more, no, that ain't what we about. This is God's house, and this is what we doing, and but they killed him. So it was like,
that's what I'm saying for me, and I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just opposite, and I don't look at these shows as real life.
Yes, I just
want to be believable.
Yes, you do. You be like, they could never come. No,
because that's the thing. I needed to be believable. Like, to me, that's why it's the greatest show ever. The Wire. Because The Wire was believable. Not saying that it was true or that was real life, but it was actually believable for the city of Baltimore. I can see those different scenarios playing out. In The Shy, the writing was horrible for me because, to your point, it was all over the place. Like, stick to a thing. I said I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, you mentioned that season. And I do think that they was good for highlighting that, because in doing some personal research, that was a big thing in Chicago, with a lot of girls being abducted and going missing and different things. So I didn't realize it was that popular, but it's like you can't tell a story about a Shy apparently without a young girl being abducted.
Cool. Don't drag it for 10 episodes.
I couldn't stand. I wish I told you. I wish she had made it out the basement. I can't stand Keisha character, like her attitude and everything else. You would
I
think that
love
she would be a little bit more humble after that.
I love Keisha. I love Keisha. Side note, do you know she owns the Duck Donuts here in Wendell?
I heard that.
Yeah.
Isn't she from here?
I don't know if she's from here, but I'm gonna assume so. Because why would you put a Duck Donuts in Wendell?
In Wendell, of all places. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna assume she has some roots there. I just have to believe that that's the case because otherwise, why?
The only thing I took away from the shot was that I never want to meet a chick from Chicago, or I would never date a chick if they're anything like that, because they all were toxic. They were all toxic females to me,
They're
except
not.
for Jada.
They're
Except for
not that
Jada.
bad.
And I still ain't forgave Jada. I never forgave Jada for telling Antoine Fisher to go downstairs and drop them drawers. So
Oh my
I still hold.
I
Julia said, "Nah, bro, the why was true, bro. Nah, of course it's all right. So this is the thing, right?
You dropped them drawers.
A lot of these shows are. Hey, what's good, Miguel? A lot of these shows, what it is that's why they say they're based off of true life. Like 80% of it's gonna be false. 80 is like made up because you gotta sell a story. Paid in full. The movie Paid in Full. We all know that Alpo was a real dude. Rich Porter. Those type stories. Those type villains did. That's your Southern Transformation coming out.
Wait, who? Miguel, please say Marvin.
I think he talking about you.
Oh, please say Marv. Don't say me.
But with the Shy, like I said, it was just too all over the place for me as far as the writing was concerned. And it's like you say, you just forcing it. And it's funny that you said you ain't watched BMF because BMF was, oh, come on, Miguel. I thought we was boys, man. He said Marvin.
Oh, see.
He like BMF. The only thing that was cool about BMF to me was the fact that Lil Meech got to play his father. That was it. Other than that, and they did have one dude, Lamar, the dude that played Lamar, he's a great actor. Outside of that,
British or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They taking over.
Heavy and hard, actually.
Yeah.
And they're amazing actors.
Him, Damson, Idris. They the ones now. But he's a great actor. Even Kosh Doll, it was like, I'm trying to rock with her. You know what I mean? Represent for the D, but it's like it was just something to watch. Like,
not for me, no thanks. And just like I've asked a number of people that I know from Chicago, like, y'all watch The Shy? They're like, absolutely not. Why would we watch that? And so I think it's the same when you have a show that's loosely based off of your city and you actually lived the life that they are trying to fake portray. It's like, I'm not watching this. What? Mm-hmm. This is not how we live in Detroit. Actually, it's worse. Like, if you're gonna portray it. Do
it the right way. Yeah.
Cakewalkish, actually.
How about bring some of us in that actually know as consultants, so to speak? We ain't got to have no rules, but bringing in, because it's funny that you even say that. New Jersey Drive. Everybody that I meet from outside New Jersey, oh man, that movie was, us from Newark, New Jersey, not just New Jersey, but us from Newark, we could not stand that movie.
Exactly.
Like, it was horrible. Everybody, nah, man, why you don't like that then? First of all, we ain't had that many white cops like that in the city of Newark for them to be, like it was. Then it was little stuff. Heavy D, who is my favorite rapper, rest in peace, Mr. Dwight Myers, Heavy D. Oh, yeah, man, we're going to go over to Grove Avenue. It's not Grove Avenue, it's Grove Street. Like, some of the simple things, y'all get this, like, dude, nah, we not jacking New Jersey Drive.
You can't watch it from a cinematic perspective. You watch it from a critical perspective because it's about it's based off of your city. And so you're watching it to see how accurate they depict it.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times the accuracy is 0 out of 10. So if they say, like, even with, and I know a lot of people love this series, Beverly Hills Cop. A number of the episodes, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been years since I've seen it, but Eddie Murphy's character was supposedly from Detroit. A lot of the Beverly Hills, like in this, especially the first one was based in Detroit.
The movie. You talking about the movies, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Axel Foley.
Yeah. Now, Axel, do better. Because why are you in the suburbs talking about you in the city of Detroit? What is happening right now? So I don't. If they say from Detroit, based in Detroit, loosely on Detroit, I just go ahead and scroll because I know I'm not going to be able to watch it from a cinematic perspective. I'm watching to see y'all got the Coney in there. Coney ain't in there. It ain't authentic. Y'all ain't got one corner store, one liquor store. No potholes.
Yeah.
The freeways are actually smooth. You're not in the city. What suburb are you in? So I don't.
And that makes sense.
I don't even watch it
because I remember like that's how I was with Paper Soldiers. I never forget. I had done left. I might have seen Paper Soldiers the first time.
I've never even heard
4 or 5 years after it came out, and I never forget. One day I'm sitting there, and I I was heavily lifted. I was high, and I'm watching this movie. And what's crazy is, the same scenario I told you about earlier with the standing in front of Seatown on South Orange Avenue. Mm-hmm. I'm watching this movie with Kevin Hart for the first time, and I'm like, that looked like the same store I bought my first Bieber from. And there's a scene in there where they're in the Bieber shop. I'm gonna be the boss. I'm gonna be the supervisor. Him and this dude going back and forth. Then they walk outside. I'm like tripping, like, I know I ain't that high. Mm-hmm. I call my people back in Jersey, like, man, they feel. He's like, man, that thing old, bro. I'm like, but deja vu, the same spot that I was telling you about earlier was the same spot that they shot this movie, Paper Soldiers. So Paper Soldiers became that for me because it's like, oh yeah, I'm seeing stuff. This is the actual hood. Mm-hmm. That was more relatable to than New Jersey Drive was to me. Only thing they had got right is that people were stealing cars. You know what I mean? That was the only thing.
That everywhere.
But other than that, it was like y'all just doing way too much, man.
Yeah. So I like The Shy. We done talked about that. Get off my show. Thank you.
I'm just glad it's finally over.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie.
I did think they did a good job as far as casting in terms of Keisha and Kevin, because they look like they could be real siblings for real. Like,
I honestly think they did a great job at casting. Period. I think the objective of each character, as discombobulated as the show may have been, they all did a great job. The only person I was like, girl, please stop, was Tiff. Oh my God, get her off the show. Why did she make it to the series finale? Tiff was not my favorite character.
And that's how it be. It's like them fine was in she running through hoes and all that stuff and just shady.
Tiff, I couldn't. Tiff and Reg.
I seen too. I don't know if I said it to you or not. That was my thing. Like, I couldn't stand Bakari. Like, he was a punk to me the whole series.
Bakari.
And how is it that you going to shoot somebody in the head at a community event in front of hundreds of people and don't never go to jail?
He shot
Ronnie.
Yeah.
He killed Ronnie for killing Coogie, who we ain't never see that. You know what I mean? Like,
the way they were tying people together, it was like
ridiculous to me.
Okay, Keisha, you cool with this person who killed the person who saved your life, and then you're dating this person who killed the father of this. Like, at the end, like, once they start, I was just like, this is the most toxic,
and that's my point,
role I have ever seen in my life. But I still will watch the show again. Thank you.
So from a woman's perspective, think about this. Tracy. Now here it is. When you go back and you watch the because I went back to season 1. I had totally forgot that Kev had done shot Ronnie too.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember that.
Yeah, Kev was the one that shot Ronnie.
Okay.
Remember, he was scared, and the whole thing with him and Brandon, he set Brandon up to go meet Ronnie at the park and wind up shooting. That's all that did. That's all the way
You
back
taking
season
it back
one.
too far. I ain't going
So,
back to season one.
because to me that was only good seasons when Brandon was involved. I ain't gonna lie, like season 1 and 2.
But you
Those were
know why
good
they took
seasons.
him off the show, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was another reason that pissed me off too because they took the best. I really think that the intentions of the show was gonna be built around that character of
It
Brandon
should have been.
and everything else. But when that happened, they fired him, and then come to find out, old girl was lying, which I felt like she was all along. So it was like,
They could have worked his character back in somehow, but neither here nor there.
yeah, and exactly if they really wanted to, just like with Reg. I found out initially because Reg would never go on record. The reason that they really wanted the reason that they finally let him go after season 2 was, and they fake killed this character off at that particular time, was because they wanted him to be like the character that Luke Cage, and he was like, I'm not kissing nobody that's trans. I stand on that. Like, go ahead and fire me. So that's initially why they got rid of Reg, because they wanted his character to go that route. That's why they came. Like, think about it. They wasn't talking about them having an older brother before that. So they had to create this whole. It was like you said. It was just too much double dutching as far as the writing goes to me. But like I was saying with Tracy, here it is. When I went back, you find out that Tracy was given to Q, who was the old school, who was the basketball player's father. We didn't know that initially, but Q was the old time gangster. Now Tracy couldn't stand him because her father was a drug addict, and to pay his debt, the father gave Tracy to Q. That's how she got pregnant.
See, I didn't connect them dots.
Yeah. So think about it now, because she talks about it later on when she's finally start going to therapy. Back to therapy. We encourage therapy, y'all.
Mental health.
In one of the group meetings, she said that the only way she told him that's how she got free of Q. Because she told him that when she got pregnant, she was about to, do an abortion. But the only way that she would keep the baby is if he let her go and he would leave. That's why he went down to Cuba or wherever he was supposed to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And she wound up keeping the baby, and then he become the basketball star and all that there, blase, blase. Now, you can't stand it, dude. When he come back after the son died, he come back to find out who killed his son. I can't stand you. It's like you saying you're a nemesis. We're saying you're an abuser. How do you fall in love with his right-hand man, which was Duda?
Which I couldn't stand, to be clear.
Make that make sense.
Could not stand Duda.
Make that make sense. Like, here it is, you the leader of a gang, but you're also the mayor. You get shot on the roof with no security detail around whatsoever. Like, it was just like, y'all doing way too much, man.
Listen, you'll never make me hate The Chi, even though the points you're making are valid. So I don't want you to continue to make them, because then I may have to actually think the show is stupid. So stop.
But yeah, man, thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you for joining me too, man.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on here. I have not been on here in forever, but I'm back like I never left.
Mm-hmm. Drew said, I think the reason why it was so good is because a lot of persons could relate to the actors. Every hood had an Avon or two. You had a lot of Omar. You had a few stringers. You had a lot of all of them in every hood. Most grew up around that or some. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it ain't got to be real life, but at least make some of the characters believable to me. For Brandon, for Emmett, who was probably my favorite character of the side, to be honest with you.
Emmett.
But it was like, when I thought about it when I started put my Marvin hat on, I'm like, the math ain't mathing, as we say now. Like, because here it is, you a hustler. That's why I liked him. He was a hustler. But he finally started working with Brandon, and he telling Brandon in the beginning, hey man, you know who dude I is? You might not want to take no money from him, you know what I mean? But here it is, you let this same dude that kill Brandon, you gonna go into business with him.
Which is crazy. That was probably the craziest thing Emmett did,
But yeah, man, I thank y'all for tuning in, man. We're gonna be back next week with the first of the month freestyle show. Like I said, we'll probably get into more of the more of the war situation. I got my man Gene. I'm gonna try to get in touch with him to see if he could come on from his Navy experience and give us a little bit more details on that. There, I just find it ironic too that with all that's going on, how it just um everything has just become a side note, so to speak. You know, we had the dude that was found in a tree in Henderson. What was that, last year? It's funny how that just disappeared all of a sudden.
Yep.
Um, the war, we kidnapped the Venezuelan president. That just disappeared, and now we off to the next topic. And
That's
Jay-Z selling out Yankee Stadium, and it's like, what's real good? So just let's be real more mindful of that. And any other topics that you guys want to talk about next week, we'll get into it. Having said that, please keep my man Majid Muhammad in prayer. If you go to my Facebook, if you go on my Facebook page, he has a GoFundMe out there that he shared the link on there. This is a dude that I worked with many years ago at the airport. He just successfully completed a heart and kidney transplant,
oh.
but he has a long road to recovery. So any help that could be given will be gladly appreciated. And I told him, he gave me permission to put that information out there. So if you guys go on my page, you'll see the GoFundMe for him. And please keep the Samuel family in prayer as we lay my god sister Crystal Samuel to rest on this Friday. A beautiful young lady. I was going back and I was like, I don't want to get emotional, but she was doing this different newsletter. She was a teacher and she went on this teaching assignment for maybe 2 or 3 years over in Haiti, and just going back and seeing the interaction with her and the kids and the different things that she was doing over there, she would be sorely and greatly missed. So shout out to her. Shout out to all the fans and the loved ones of the late Nikki Ross, who we lost over the weekend. I posted nothing but her videos on Sunday. Nikki will truly be missed. She had been struggling with health for quite a while, but we losing people left and right. So let's keep
Yeah.
each other lifted up in prayer, and let's just be vigilant with that. If you're not doing anything tomorrow, please join me. I will be a guest on the Open Train on Thought podcast with Samuel Blue. We're gonna be talking about this WNBA situation, former NBA players signing up for the W, and we're gonna get into a few more topics. But join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Over on the Open Train of Thought podcast. I look forward to that. Hope everybody has a good and prosperous week. Let's stay hydrated with these temperatures out here.
Yes.
Ooh, we already in August, so we almost through it.
We
But
almost
stay hydrated, stay.
we almost there, y'all.
All right, but I appreciate you all, man. Know that I love you, and as usual, in signing off, DeAndre and Lysa. Know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Till next week, peace.
Yes.